RaceSpotTV Friday night primetime sees us swing on over to Tsukuba once again for the second time on the season. It's the 2000 circuit this time though, back for the full layout for round number 9 of the iRacing Formula V series. My name is Noel Rempo. I've got Stefan Schlack beside me in the commentary box with Tyler Maxson once again down behind the cameras for tonight's presentation. Bound to be a thrilling 12 minutes of racing action, as it has been consistently so far every single race on the year, Stefan. As we return to Tsukuba, a bit of a longer track this time with a couple of more corners and some tighter ones at that. Should be a very entertaining race up ahead of us.
It's Hairpin City Nolan here at the beautiful Tsukuba circuit. I was really excited for this race from the get-go of this season, and finally we have arrived in the land of the rising sun. Tsukuba circuit and the Formula V, it's all gonna be about momentum building, momentum keeping, and especially how well can you get yourself around that very long last right-hand turn.
And Tsukuba Lopez, of course, has been the driver to watch for so far all season long. He's run away with many a victory. That was not the case though last week. At some point, he had quite a handful of himself trying to come through to go to victory lane last week around. Of course, this week, the question will remain as to whether he'll be able to do the same thing here. He does have Thomas Williams in qualifying with a 105.081, which is just about 3/10 off his 104.885. There's also a second Lopez on the track today. We're seeing Tsukuba Lopez. We got Alberto Sanchez Lopez, a name we have not seen so far all season long. Should be interesting to see what this second Lopez can have for the all-reigning king in the Formula V so far.
Yeah, Tsukuba Lopez once again seems like he is in a little bit of a trouble-free zone, unlike last week where we saw him getting challenged and actually getting beaten by nearly 2 guys there even for that first place. But Tsukuba Lopez, just how dominant he is week in, week out. Just incredible what this man can really do.
So Tsukuba Lopez currently on pole position with both laps completed. His fastest lap set on, I believe, the first of the 2 qualifying laps. In fact, that was the case. We'll take a look back and take a look at that first lap from Tsukuba Lopez to put himself up on pole position. It's a very, very quick lap around here, even in the what is now officially the slowest car on iRacing. Still just over a 1-minute time. So imagine hurdling a Dallara Ira 1 around here. I can't imagine it would be much more than just 30 seconds.
Well, yeah, probably 30 seconds or probably even less, but should be somewhere around that 30-second mark in all reality. And, you know, the good thing about commentating a race at Tsukuba, there's only corner numbers to remember.
9 corners, to say the very least. Tsukuba Lopez, of course, is still out there on the track and still seeing if he could maybe improve, doing a bit of extra practice out there on the racing facility. So we'll take a look at that pole lap. I believe if we can get that up, the 104.885. This is coming around through turn 9 to start that ever-important flying lap. You see, shifting up into that 4th gear there, the tallest gear that these Formula Vs have, in the short blast up the hill before hard on the brakes for turn number 1. Look at the wheel work, kind of twitching that back end out to get the car turned in a bit more, turning the wheel a little bit to the left, some counter steer out through the hairpin at turn 1. From my favorite section of the track, a flick to the left and back to the right before hard on the brakes once again for the hairpin. No downshift to 2nd gear. 3rd gear is definitely the lowest you want to be here. The quickest blast down the straight between turns 8 and 9 follows up with the final corner. A long, sweeping right-hander to round out the lap on turn number 9. Up through 3rd and 4th gear. And rounded out the lap for Tsukuba Lopez with a 104.885. Just 20 seconds left on the clock at the moment of qualifying as you took a ride on board with the pole lap from Tsukuba Lopez. It was quite the lap indeed. Just 10 seconds left in qualifying here, Stefan. What do you think some thoughts are before we go green?
Well, you saw it right there. You have to be clean. You have to keep up your momentum. You shift in second, you're already losing your momentum. So keep that momentum up. It's all going to be all important. So let's see who can challenge Araiko Lopez this time around.
Jacobo Lopez, once again, your pole sitter with a 104.885. This qualifying rounds out with Thomas Williams lined up beside him on the front row. Just 7,000ths back from Williams is Rodrigo Beltrame in third, with Augusto Lavisolo in fourth. Ilya Yevstrid is in fifth place, with Peter Chain down in sixth. Alberto Sanchez Lopez is in seventh place, with Alan Degassis in eighth. Ian Barrett going to be rounded out ninth place, along with the cars that have set laps for the race today. Check that. Vinicius Camillo is going to be in 10th place, with David Clack in 11th. James Chu rounds out the 12-car field here from Tsukuba 2000. Just waiting on a few more drivers to grid on up here for the standing start. And Stefan, as we wait on just two more drivers, we should be in for a very entertaining show once again.
Yeah, I think so very much. This track demands a lot of momentum from these cars, but that is not meaning that it is impossible to pass here. You still have those hairpins. They are still quite decently sized braking zones, even for the Formula V. And if all fails, you still have that very long right-hander at the very end. And your turn number one.
Still waiting on, I believe, 3 drivers to ground up. Check that 4. And it looks like that is going to be it, though. Drivers will not have enough time to grid on up. So the lights prepare to go green. Lights out. We're underway from Tsukuba for the second and final time in Japan this season. Lopez once again getting away well. Thomas Williams side by side with Beltrame down in the turn number 1. Single file and out, and unlike the first time we came here, as I say, I was about to say no problems, not the case for James Chu with the classic solo car spin, trying to be too aggressive through turn 1. The field diving down, though, through the hairpin of turn 4. No further issues thus far. Oh, no, and once again, the commentator's curse strikes. Beltrame out of third place, dropped down to 9th.
Yeah, maybe even Rodrigo Beltrame there did take himself into second gear. It kind of looked like that as the car suddenly spun itself around. But that already opened up quite a gap there between Lovisolo and Williams for that second and third place. So let's see if Augusto can somehow find a little bit of pace in that V-dub engine and get himself back in the fight for first place.
Williams is still close to Jacobo Lopez, following closely all the way through turn 9. As you can see, the top 2 just exiting stage right on your screens. One car swinging way into the grass in the background. That's Alberto Sanchez Lopez. Battle is on for the lead, though. Jacobo Lopez trying to defend. Williams trying to maybe take one around the outside. Was no dice, though, for Williams. The other Lopez, Alberto Sanchez Lopez, currently in a side-by-side battle with Ian Barron out through turns 2 and 3 towards the hairpin of 4. Apart from the 2 minor spins we had, a clean opening lap. No other drivers have had issues. Oh, a run of the back wheel of Alberto Sanchez Lopez is Ian Barron.
Yeah, Ian quite lucky there to not spin himself out with hitting that rear wheel of Alberto Sanchez Lopez. So good job on Barron to keep that car under control and most importantly keep up the momentum. And also seems like Lovisolo, he's not too slow, so might be able to cling on to the back of the draft that Williams and Jacobo Lopez do produce here for that fight for first place. Kind of a little bit also of a confusing battle there as both cars are green, just with the difference that Thomas Williams, the second car, has that blue nose.
I'm going to be completely honest here. There's not a whole lot in the way of draft that comes with this track. I'd say the most amount of draft you can get is probably for turns 8 and 9. And maybe turn 9 up to turn 1 if you can find yourself with a good enough run out through 9. But the draft, not as big of a factor as it was at some point where over half the lap ended up being run in the draft and completed flat out, much like the Monza race we just saw in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship a little while ago in many regards.
Yeah, I mean, Tsukuba, it's a very short circuit. The 2000 stands for the 2 kilometers that this track is long. It's a little bit of a fun fact there if you didn't know that. But yeah, it still is a decently sized straight, or 2 decently sized straights that you still have here. So you still can have a little bit of a draft that can get you close enough to make that pass happen. Not in turn 9. but most definitely into turn 1, because in reality this turn 9 is just a little bit of a lift and roll through for these Formula Bs.
Lopez has company. Thomas Williams closing up on the gearbox of the number 1 machine. Thomas Williams backs off a little bit while Jacopo Lopez takes a tighter line, trying to stay on the defensive. Thomas Williams not driving it too hard just yet. He still has 8.5 minutes, just over 2/3 of the race left to get this pass complete. And he's shown that he is going to be sticking with Jacopo Lopez right through to the very end of this race. So no doubt we'll be seeing this battle picking on up so far as the race goes on. And this brings up another point of Tsukuba. It doesn't really matter what car you're in. It is not the easiest of tracks to pass at. It's so difficult with almost no good passing zones anywhere on the track. Like we were talking about, the best one is, shockingly, I would honestly say turn 1. Still, turn 9 is just too fast and sweepy to get through. You have to try to get yourself a much better run through turn 9 to have a proper look at a turn 1. As Thomas Williams demonstrated here, elected to stick this one in line and not fight it out too hard with Lopez at the moment.
I'm loving the passion of Thomas Williams right now, telling Jacopo Lopez to push last lap around. So most definitely he is right now thinking that he could go much faster and wants this fight to start happening soon. But he also recognizes the gap that is not really building up to Lovisolo in behind. They are not that much faster than Lovisolo. In that last lap they were 4/10 faster, but right now Lovisolo is able to keep pace, and more importantly, ever so slightly, is closing in on your 2 leaders.
This is Ian Barron and Peter Chain at the moment. These 2 drivers just swapped hands coming into turn number 1 down that front straightaway. Chain got a much better drive than Barron did out through turn 9. Is able to pounce on the entry to turn number 1. So Barron trying to retake the 7th position on course. Gets a bit too close, though, through the hairpin in turn 8, and that kind of checks him up a little bit, leaves him with not a lot of draft room to work with in the run down towards turn 9, so he'll most likely have to wait all the way until 1 to have another properly good shot at this. Here's another battle taking place further down the order. Alberto Sanchez Lopez and Alan Degassis looking to do battle for 5th and 6th on the surface. And closing up quickly to that halfway mark as well. Already just 15 seconds away from the 6-minute mark in this 12-minute race. So these races, once again, just flying by as if they're standing still. We've got an estimated 5.6 laps remaining. So we'll probably end up having the exact same number of laps in this race as we do minutes on the clock.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it should be a dozen laps that these guys are able to run here for this race, as Degassi continues to be in that 5th place, right ahead of Alberto Sanchez Lopez. And up front, you know, this pace is really weird. While Augusto Lovisolo is pretty much like a Swiss clock himself, lapping within a few thousandths of a second every single time of his fastest lap right now. These guys up in front are +- 2 to 3/10 of what they are actually able of doing. So very interesting. Lovisolo keeping to his very low 05.1s, while Williams and Lopez are driving somewhere in the range of a high 5.2 to a low 5.9, so 4.9 rather. So very interesting, and this could be a thing that we have to watch out for, because Williams might be scared to attack with a close gap like this.
You saw on the left side of the screen the other Lopez and Degassis swap hands. That was not a battle necessarily. It looked more like Degassis just kind of pulled aside and lifted off a bit, kind of allowed Lopez to take the spot. And you can see that even more by taking a super tight line out of turn number 9, just to give Alberto Sanchez Lopez the run that he needed to really secure that position. So I have a feeling that Degassis at the moment not really want to play, fight this one out too much. He's just looking to kind of stay where things are at and see how this race develops. Up in front, I mean, I have to think here, because Thomas Williams is consistently, better than Jacopo Lopez is. I mean, just the last lap alone, he was only 0.02 of a second off of Lopez's time, but the lap before that, almost a 1/10 of a second faster. I honestly kind of feel like Williams is kind of toying with Jacopo Lopez a little bit here in the first portion of the race.
Yeah, not only toying with Jacopo Lopez, but also toying with his internet connection right now, as it seems like. But Lovisolo, yeah, they are not really dropping him. They're also not really letting him get closer to themselves. So it's a very steady gap. It steadily increases and then very steadily declines again, but it always stays around the 2.2 second mark that they have right now over Lovisolo. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 2 minutes we're gonna see Williams ramp up the aggression here a little bit, especially into turn 1, to try and make that move happen for first place against Adecobo Lopez.
Estimated 4 laps left on the clock with just over 3 minutes remaining. Adecobo Lopez going a little bit more defensive that time, kind of keeping it off of the grass, trying to kind of let himself be kind of almost pulled in a little bit more. Further in the back end of the field, battle is on for 5th and 6th. Sanchez Lopez under fire from Alan and Degassis. They were side by side in the turn 1. Degassis decides to back off and give Sanchez Lopez some space to work with through turns 2, 3, and 4. But this battle for 5th, despite Degassis kind of letting Alberto Sanchez through, that doesn't mean it's not over.
No, at the start it seemed like Alan Degassis is just gonna let him pass and let Sanchez run away, but it seems like Degassis has the pace to stick with Sanchez Lopez, so Alan might be able here to once again sneak away that 5th place under the nose of Alberto Sanchez Lopez.
Degassis looks for the inside, tries to charge down the inside. Alberto Sanchez Lopez taking a bit of a middle arc, but he's going to be able to carry more speed out of the final corner. Alan Degassis, unfortunately, taking the title line, is not going to quite be able to get there. Yeah. And he's got a problem here for sure, because look at this. He is so slow at the moment, to the point where he's reeled in Peter Chain. Alan Degassis has got a big problem here with him. He is slowing big time. 60 miles an hour just now gets on the throttle. What's happened to the 4?
Very, very weird indeed. He is not really accelerating either, so seems like he most definitely has a problem with his sim rig or something. So big shame here for the number 4, which continues to be the battle here for first place. Adecobo Lopez versus Thomas Williams. We're coming to 2 to go. I think they are gonna be there. Oh, they might not be there in time.
1 minute remaining. The question is, do we get this one more lap, or is this going to be the last one? Thomas Williams is out of time. He's going to have to, really pounce now to try to make the spot work. Degassis does pull down a pit road, so it is a big issue there for the number 4 machine. This will be a close one here for sure. The last lap by was a 104.8. It was 105 when they took that line. This is going to be very, very close here, Stefan, to see if these guys might be able to go for the one more lap, or if they're going to have to wait and maybe see this one finish out here at the checkered flag. 30 seconds on the clock, coming around through turn number 8. This will certainly be a very close call at the line. 20 seconds remaining. Adecobo Lopez goes defensive. Thomas Williams follows him down to the right side of the racetrack, trying to potentially come away with a race win. Lopez ducks back to the left as Williams tucks in line, goes to the inside on turn number 9, gets cut off by the number 1 car. Coming to what might just be the checkered flag at the line. I believe Adecobo Lopez will get victory. He does. Race is over. Adecobo Lopez, your winner, but not by much.
Not by much indeed, and the funny thing is he actually got clocked in at 11 minutes 59 seconds, .858, so technically we didn't even race 12 minutes here today.
An amazing run. I mean, you take a look at the time, it's 11.59.858. That's pretty much 12 minutes on the dollar. I mean, that's about as close as you can possibly get, to having a 12-minute race. Adecobo Lopez taking victory with Thomas Williams down in second place by just a 10th and a half. Augusto Lovisolo is in third with Ilya Yevstrid in fourth. Alberto Sanchez Lopez is going to be in fifth place with Peter Chain sixth. Ian Barron in seventh with Rodrigo Beltrame in eighth. James Chu in ninth with Alan Degassis after a mysterious technical issue for the number 4 car. Finishes one lap down in 10th place, with Vinicius Camillo and David Clack both not setting qualifying laps and not making the field for the 12-car race. What a run, though, for everybody in the field so far.
Yeah, what a run indeed, but the mystery continues with Alain Degassis, with him just having to stop there, being very slow on the last lap that he did drive. So would really love to get behind knowing what happened there for Alain Degassis.
A mysterious incident, to say the very least. It almost looks like, now you know how oftentimes in motorsports in general, you'll have these issues where a car will just suddenly lose power. It looks like that, but unless iRacing has certainly added in random mechanical failures that we didn't know about and were not told about in their latest update, I don't think it would have been that. It almost looks to me like his whole pedal system might have failed because he never accelerated off of the final corner. And well, I say that's not the case either, because he did accelerate off of turn 1, but not by much. I don't understand what the problem could have been.
You know what? I'm gonna throw a wild one out there. He might have thought that it's only 10 laps to race, and thus didn't accelerate anymore. And then realized that it's 10 laps, and then once again went on it, because halfway down the race, the lap, he did accelerate fully again, and then he pitted.
You know what? I think you're right. It's not the first time we've seen drivers miscounting laps, even in the real world. It's been done plenty of times before. It doesn't make it any less embarrassing, though, does it?
No, but, you know...
Oh, no. Well, unfortunately for Degassis, we'll have to hope that he can maybe rebound in the next race when we swing on back over to Lime Rock Park, this time to throw a couple of chicanes into the works. Well, last time we were at Lime Rock Park, we didn't have any of the chicanes, and it was a quick race, to say the very least. High speeds for, well, considering that we're in Formula V's, there are high speeds at the very least. All the way back on July 16th, so just over a month down the road, we swing back over to Lime Rock Park, but with a couple of twists and turns thrown in there. Stefan, what's your take on what our next race might be like?
Well, last time around, as you said, we didn't have any of the chicanes. Now we want all of them, so it's gonna be very interesting. Kind of like Tsukuba once again, but a little bit faster yet. So Tsukuba take that on with a little bit slower corners, but longer straights as well. That's pretty much the racing you're gonna get. So it will be very close yet again. Better braking opportunities, which means we're gonna have better passing opportunities as well at Lime Rock Park with those chicanes added. So it should be a very fun challenge for these guys, because for the first time they're gonna see real big curbs that they will have to tackle.
Should be a very entertaining race as well, as we swing back over to America for 2 of the last 3 races before kicking it off to Australia for the season finale. But for now, that isn't going to be about all the time we're going to have for another presentation of RaceSpotTV Friday Night Primetime. I'm Vanilla Rempel with Stefan Schlacke behind the mics for today's race, with Tyler Maxey doing a great job as ever in the producer's chair for tonight's presentation. But thank you all for joining us for another beautiful night of Formula V action. We'll see you all next week in Lime Rock Park.